All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. I've been going through this 7-part Microsoft series on EF, or Entity Framework Database First with MVC. We're up to part 4 of 7, and in here we're going to change the database. So as mentioned, this part of the series focuses on making an update to the database structure and then propagating that change through the web application. So, if you update the structure of a database, you have to ensure that the change is propagated. In other words, if I change the database, since now I'm able to make changes using my program, those changes have to come into the program. So, for this tutorial, as mentioned, we are going to add a new column to the student table to record the middle name. All right, so we're going to open the student.sql file through either the designer or the TSQL code and add a column. Well, I'm not going to exactly do it that way because I didn't save that file. So what we want to do is we've got last name, first name, middle name. I'm not sure why they're putting it in this order, but they are, and that's okay. All right, so it says deploy this change to your local database server by starting your project. The new field is added to the table. If you do not see it in the SQL Server Object Explorer, press refresh. Well, let's make this simple. We're going to go here. All right, I'm going to stop the run, which I shouldn't have had going anyway. I'm going to stop this. All right, now I'm going to right mouse click on here and refresh. Come over to my tables, open up my student table, open up the table definition, and what we're told we want to do here takes a little bit for this to load, and again, my system is acting unbelievably slow today. So there it is. But we want to come in and after first name, we want to add a new field that's called middle name. We want that to be again an nvarchar of size 50. And we want to allow for nulls in there. I believe that's everything that we wanted to do. All right. And we need our comma. Now that should fix everything. So if I come in here and I update, we're not getting any errors. Again, always a great sign. Update database. All right, we can save. And let's close this. Okay, so that's the start. So we came in and did all this. It says deploy the change to your local database by starting a project. The new field is added. If you don't see it in your Object Explorer, well, let's check. So let's right mouse click on student here. Let's refresh. Let's right mouse click again and go to open table definition. And there's our middle name. All right. Now there's nothing in there, of course, in any of those records. So when we show the table data, there won't be any. Notice they're all null. Remember, we allowed nulls. And since we put in that field after we'd put in our initial database data, it actually should be null. Okay, so everything that's in there is correct. All right, so the new column exists in the database table but does not currently exist in the data model class. You must update the model to include your new column. So in the models folder, open up your EDMX file to display the diagram. Notice the student model does not contain the middle name. So right mouse click on it and select update model from database. Let's try that. I haven't done this yet, so I'm excited. So we want to come in and find, I believe that was under models, but I could be wrong. All right, so I'm going to right mouse click on student and choose, I don't think I did this, I did, update model from database. All right, again, I want to follow exactly what they're saying in here. In the update wizard, select the refresh tab and the student table. refresh, tables, tables, select the student table. Okay. Click Finish. And you'll notice that middle name has been added. All right. It says click Finish. After the update process is finished, the database diagram now includes the middle name property. Save the file. You must save this file for the new property to be propagated to the student.cs. You now have the updated database and model. So, in other words, I want to come back here and I want to save. It's taking a minute to refresh itself. All right. So I have to click Save. Again, why this is taking so flaming long is way, way beyond my pay grade here. But I want to finish up because my students should be coming in just a couple minutes. It says the file has unsaved changes inside of this editor. I'm just going to click Yes to all. All right, I don't think it told us anything about that in there. So now we want to build the solution. So I should be able to close this. All right, build the solution. Ideally, we're not going to get any errors in here. You really shouldn't get an error from just coming in and adding a field to a database in a working application, but you never know. All right, build succeeded. So, unfortunately, the views still do not contain the new property. To update the views, you have two options. You can either regenerate the views by once again adding scaffolding to the student class, or you can manually add the new property to your existing views. In this tutorial, you will add the scaffolding again because you might not have made any customized changes to the automatically generated views. You might consider manually adding the property when you made changes to the views but don't want to lose those changes. So, to ensure the views are recreated, delete the Students folder under Views and delete the Students controller. I'm going to do this in order here. So, delete the Students folder under Views. So I want to go to Views. And under Views, I should have a Students folder. There it is. Right mouse click on it and choose Delete. I am warned. Boom, it's gone. All right. There it is. It's gone. All right. Then delete the Students controller. So I want to go to my controllers and I want to remove the Students controller. Again, I'm warned. Boom, now that's gone. All right. Then right click on the controllers folder, choose Add Scaffolding for Student. Again, name it Students controller and select OK. All right, so in other words, we're just going to rebuild it like we did before. Right mouse click, choose Add, New Scaffolded Item, MVC5 controller with views using Entity Framework, Add. We want to come in here and again choose Students or Students. It's all set up for us already. Click Add. It should be being rebuilt in here right now. Again, ideally, we won't get any error messages from doing this. Probably should have made sure that nothing was open here, but we'll see. All right, it looks like everything's okay. All right. Then right-click the controllers folder, add scaffolding again, name it. The views now contain this. All right, so let's double check. So we're going to come through here. Let's save everything. Let's do another build. And then let's run the program. Again, ideally our build, it did succeed. That's always good news. So let's run the program. We're going to click the hyperlink that says list student data, and we're going to see if we have a field in there now for middle name. list of students. There's middle name. You'll notice that it's null. I don't like where it's positioned. I'm not going to worry about that for right now. That really and truly is not an important thing, and it's exactly the way that they show it in here. So we could move it. Again, that's not really a big thing. In fact, what I'm wondering, you'll notice the positioning of it here. I'm going to stop the run. I'm going to try something and just see if this works. And if it doesn't, no big thing. But I'm going to stop my run here. I'm going to go back to my student here, and I'm going to open my table definition. Now there might be a reason they had you put in here. Notice here it's in the right order, but I think it's not shown in that order because the code generates it based on the order in which we did it. So it actually is in the right order. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to close this, and the author says here, so we've done all this. The views now contain the middle name property, and you saw that it did. All right. In the next section, now we're going to add code, first time, to customize the view for showing details about a student record. So we'll do that next. I'm done for the day. I'm going to continue it on the next time I get some time. This part will focus on changing the automatically generated views to enhance our presentation. All right. I'm not going to go through that with you right now. That's part 5 of 7. Then we'll use annotations to provide for validation. And finally, when we're done, we'll finish it all up by publishing our MVC database site to Azure. So we've got 4 done so far. What we have done in here thus far is we started, let me see if I can back this up all the way here. We started with our creating the database and then populating it with data. That was part 1. Then we went to part 2, and in part 2, sorry about this, and in part 2, we created the web application, which we actually did in part 1, but we added the data models. All right, so we generated the data models based on our database tables. Then we went to part 3, and in part 3, which was called generating views, all right, in there, we used ASP.NET scaffolding to generate the controllers and the views we needed. And unlike the way we did it last time, I did a better job, I think, at least this time, because we actually created our controllers under the controllers folder. We finished up today, we just finished this right now, with our changing the database, part 4 of 7, where we added a new column. In other words, we added a new field to our database. We added an optional middle name field. All right. Now, I believe that in the next lecture, when we get into the next one, we are going to fix that. And when we do this, I believe, I could be wrong here, sure wouldn't be the first time, but our next one, which is going to be customizing a view, I believe we're going to fix that up. And when we do, maybe not. I thought we're going to fix up where our enrollment date is, but we'll see. All right. This is actually, and I'm looking at this, an unbelievably small lesson. I think I'm going to be able to finish this one up. So let me stop and start again. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to call this, no, I'm not.